Then they choose the event in history that they would like to experience, such as colonization of the 13 colonies. Finally, they are given numerous quests that pertain to that event in history, such as shelter building. Each quest is an immersive experience that puts the players into shoes of someone that lived during that time. So they experience all the same challenges, culture, and rewards that that era has to offer. Quests involve pickups and drops, inventory, interactive text box, jumping, obstacles, and many other features. After they complete each event, they are given a mini quiz that assesses their knowledge on what they just learned. All right, here's a prototype. You have to go to more info. Yeah, and then it will give you the map.
Oh, perfect. Awesome, you got it. So this is our prototype. We do have some definitely temporary assets and some missing assets, but for the most part, we do have. So we have start, options, exit. Exit just leaves the game. Right now, options are the controls, which you'll need to know when playing the game. We have two characters as of now, male and female. They both have the same stats, same situation, same speed. Ease to interact. Right now we have our way of information currently is conveyed by these text boxes, and once the text box shows up, you aren't able to progress until you read it, and once you finish reading it, you can close out of it. We have trees that you can remove of, and it might be hard to see at the top, but we have a working inventory system that is interactable. If I wanted to position someone or something somewhere else, I could. Right now, I have a bit of a placeholder text box, but both options do work.
I thought you were trying to move action like that.
There's a greeting settler need help. If you click not right now, you can always go back. Ask where's the food. He will provide you with the location. It provides a text prompt. Of course, if I try to chop down the tree without the axe equipped, it won't work. Equip it, it will work. And right here, we plan to have a house. Mary said before, shelter building. If you look at the top, if we hit E, it takes a log out of the inventory and changes the sprite to a different color or a different image index. If we add another one, it says the building is complete, consume another log. And after that, we're on to the quiz. And as of now, we have it where it's set. You have to get all the questions right to pass. So very quickly, go through. All this information is provided in the first level. Pass, congrats, you passed, but
It's our prototype. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, so the architecture, we are creating our game in GameMaker using the GML programming language. And the game purchase and download will be hosted on the Frontier Games website. So we will be distributing our product on the Frontier Games website, where teachers can access the website and input their roster of students and then receive a price to purchase the game in bulk for their class. Once it is purchased by the teacher, they receive individual download codes for each student, and to download the game for free from our website up to 2 times for like their school computer and their home computer. So after having discussions with a school administrator, we decided that $2.50 was a realistic and achievable cost per student that like most schools can afford. So this cost is significantly cheaper than the traditional textbooks. We do realize that there are probably some compliance issues with allowing students to download something from the internet at home for school use, and we'll address that further down the road. We have also created promotional materials such as a brochure to advertise our product. So our target demographics consist of target customers and target users. The target customers are 6th through 12th grade history teachers that are looking to improve their classrooms. They're the ones in need of a new method of teaching in order to improve their classrooms. The target users are the 6th through 12th grade history students who are actively playing a game. They're the ones interacting with the product and experiencing it firsthand. So obviously our #1 competition is just the traditional textbook that people have been using for hundreds of years. And nothing has changed to accommodate the modern generation, and so much has changed from 10 years ago even. So after doing much research on current market competitors, we found that there are no other games quite like ours. Our other competition are online flash games that have no real immersion or interactivity. They only use point and click mechanics and have mostly reading content like the textbook. The major difference between Portal to the Past and our competition is that our game teaches any history subject and is tied to the curriculum for that class without relying on the player having to read massive amounts of content. So here are some of the results we received from our customer surveys analyzing our target users. Over 75% of takers responded that our product was extremely or very innovative that they thought. Over 85% responded that they would be more likely to play our game than read chapters from their history textbook. Our game has had an overwhelmingly positive response among teachers and students. Sit Lolly, a student taking world history, says, "I love how it takes away from reading every chapter, and it will most definitely help me with memorization." Roche Hawley, a world history teacher at Pinellas Technical High School, said, "I would love to see quests, quizzes, and levels of mastery. I would use your product in my curriculum, and it would definitely help solve these problems." Using Ms. Hawley's feedback, we decided to add quizzes to the end of each event to add that assessment layer that our target customer identified. These are just a few examples of the many positive responses that we received. All right. So our project began in September when we formed our team and began the brainstorming process. Design, business requirements, and our initial customer surveys began early October, and development of assets and programming began late November. We are currently in this development stage, and after we finish development of our prototype, we'll begin testing, which is expected to start next week. Testing in our final prototype will be complete by early April. All right, so here's some pictures from our first storyboard draft and our brainstorming process. We came up with our idea by jotting down a bunch of topics and words, just whatever came to our mind, and formulating possible problems that could come with those different topics, and then we narrowed it down to our final problem. Okay. Our next steps will be to finish development and begin testing. We will test our product by driving a test case document from our use cases, testing each feature, and adding the bugs to the issue backlog. Our developer will fix each bug as they get added to the backlog, and then the features will be tested again. All right. Okay, our prototype will be considered done when there is a working menu with the following buttons: Start, How to Play, and Options. There are at least 2 playable characters. There's a subject select screen with U.S. history, an event selection screen of 13 colonies, and in-game play with at least 1 quest available, and a quiz. So a quiz at the end with full event testing the player on all things that are meant to be learned. Okay. Our long-term vision is to completely replace the traditional textbook and possibly expand to VR or a mobile version, and also long-term to expand to other subjects of science or math and other stuff. We've had our fair share of challenges during these several months, but our successes far outweigh them. One of the first challenges we experienced was actually coming up with an idea. It took us a little bit longer than other teams, but we finally came up with this idea that we thought was perfect. Our next challenge was losing a flash drive that contained a lot of important data and assets, so we had to make that all up, and it was a couple weeks worth of work. So it took a little bit to redo that. An important success we had was receiving many great responses from our customers and containing the critical feedback that we used for our product. We've also been lucky to be placed with very great mentors that have given us really good feedback. All right. Frontier Games aims to completely renovate the modern classroom by providing an alternative method of teaching that effectively increases student motivation, the percentage of information retained, and understanding of the concepts. We are Frontier Games, education designed for the modern classroom. Thank you for listening.
Nice job.
Nice job. You have a whole 10 seconds left. It's
Oh.
actually 14 minutes and 50 seconds. So.
Right on time. Well, really good. I think what you're solving for is, I mean, I'm seeing it come to life not just in the classroom, but in the workplace and in different areas of the world. But I had a few questions for you. First of all, in the game, have you thought about incorporating video as well as, because I know that as you're going through the game, the pop-up window pops up and it has a bunch of content that the user is learning about. Have you thought about video as well?
Yes. I do believe it is possible to implement a video. I don't know how complex it would be though. I guess.
I'm not saying to get rid of the content. I think it's still important that people read.
I think,
But there's occasions where videos could be
yeah, like
relevant.
the primary sources like the videos and audio recordings from history, that could be a really good addition to our game. And yeah, that could be something we add in the future.
That's just an idea that I was thinking as
Yeah.
you were speaking to it. Another question I had, so that wasn't really a question, it was more of a comment, but another question I had was, will teachers be able to dictate the content that goes into the game, or is it self-built, or is it pre-built?
So it will be pre-built, but by using lots of interviews with other teachers and what they would want to use, and obviously the curriculum provided by the state we put into it, and just lots of like first-hand experience from the teachers of what they'd want in it. And once they get the game, it'd be kind of difficult to customize it, but they can pick and choose which events they'd want to use from the game. Like maybe one part of history they want to use the textbook, but then they can use our game for maybe like World War I. They could use our game to teach their students that. So they can kind of pick and choose what they want to use from the game, but it's not really customizable where they can add their own content and like that.
Yeah. And another thing, sorry.
Oh, no, go for it.
Okay.
You asked some great
I
questions.
thought you were about to talk.
No, go ahead.
Last question. You know, a game might not be, it might not be how every student in the classroom learns. There's still going to be students
Yeah.
who gravitates to the traditional textbooks and they like to read and that fits for them, and same with the teacher. But where I could see this playing in is almost like subsidizing the textbook, right? So you have your traditional textbook, whether it be online, still the online version, we still have all the content there, but this could be almost an addition to that.
Yes.
So might be something to play around with.
Yeah. Like, yeah, for the students, like it could be something where they can pick and choose if they want to use the game or the textbook, whichever they prefer. So,
Yeah, cool.
So just trying to understand the buying model. If I understood it correctly, it's the teacher in the classroom makes the decision to buy. Is that right?
yeah.
Okay. And I don't know how modern classrooms work and when it comes to stuff like this, because wouldn't the school administration actually have to pay for it somehow, or like how would that work? Right?
It could be a thing where maybe the teacher asks for like a grant or something, or they
Okay.
propose it for the administration, or it could be we haven't really gotten this down to like a really
Sure.
fine details and stuff, but it could be something where like the administration decides to get it for all their history teachers, or if maybe just the history teacher sees it, they can like I guess propose it to the administration and
Yeah.
or yeah.
Well, how
Yeah.
does it work for textbooks? If I'm a teacher and there's a specific textbook I want,
I'm pretty sure the teacher's not buying it.
they're not buying it, but are they dictating this is the textbook?
I actually have no clue how that
and then the school buys it.
And you made a great
Or
point
does the
about.
school dictate the textbook?
In my naivete, I thought that was all determined by the state.
Yeah,
Like, because you mentioned, like, the content would have to, ultimately, I'm presuming, if it's being pitched as a textbook replacement, it would have to comply with
Yes, the
what
state
is a
curriculum and
textbook,
everything.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. And if I remember, there's one slide that talked about how, I think the scope of this was grade 6 through 12 history, is that right?
Yeah,
So that's a really cool and ambitious project. So in terms of, that's a lot of content to build out, like a lot of content to build out, right? Because you're talking about both, like you had both US history and world history kind of in that workflow, right? So, we're talking about everything from the Civil War to the fall of Constantinople, right? I mean, there's a lot of content to generate here. So
yeah.
is the business plan that you would have to have all that content built out before you could go to market? Or would you would you be able to sell it before all that content got built out? Because that could take some time.
Yeah, so we were thinking it could be something where we build out the entire U.S. history class, that part of the textbook or part of the game, like just that one class, which would be like 10th grade or 11th grade, and release that, or maybe even just half of that, just for maybe a second semester amount of content, and then release updates and downloadable content for the other classrooms or for the other classes and events and stuff, just updating and
Right.
content to download after that.
I see. Yeah, that would be, when you were describing it, I mean, the idea is really, really great idea. But the thing that came to my mind was just think about how much time it took you to
Yeah.
produce this much content, right?
Yes.
Which is a lot of work. So to build out all the content for grades 6 through 12, and I think different states have different guidelines for textbooks, so it's multiply that by,
Yeah.
50 states, right?
Yeah.
So, you're talking about a lot of work
It's a
here.
lot.
So it's a lot of investment, and you'll need a team and.
Much larger team, yes. Yeah.
But I love the idea of morphing this into a VR experience, into an AR VR experience. That could be really really compelling. And the other thing you may want to think about is how are you going to manage all the back end data, right? If I download the game and I start playing it, and let's say I'm halfway through it and I stop for the night or for the week or something like that, does it save my progress, or does it how would I? Oh, I mean, you don't have to answer it now, but just think about how you would want to
Yes.
ultimately manage
Yeah, that would be something, yeah.
all that data, right?
and then your teacher would be able to track or see how each student is performing.
Yeah, there would, this is future, not really in our prototype yet, but yeah, there'd be some kind of management behind the scenes where they could see how the students are doing and how they're, what their results are on the quizzes and which sections they might need to review more in class, or that kind of thing. Just yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I mean, it's a really cool idea, and it changes the whole problem domain of kind of traditional problems like cheating, for example, right?
Yeah.
And how you deal with stuff like that. But really awesome idea. I'd love to see how this gets built out.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. I would just maybe say, if you have time, because I know you surveyed the students, right? Have you surveyed any of the history teachers at your school?
We've surveyed one. We've surveyed one teacher at House Technical High School, but we haven't really surveyed other teachers. My goal definitely for the final presentation was to get some video interviews with teachers and students to put in to our presentation. But now that I think about it, we were on 50 seconds, so I don't know if we had time, but I don't know, maybe I'll cut something out. But I do want to interview some more teachers.
I think that would be good
Yeah.
as well, because it would be just as important. I think
Yeah.
the teachers are going to have to drive it just as much as students are going to have to adopt it.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
In terms of the value proposition, the other cool thing about digital media is the fact that it can be updated.
Yes.
Right. So if you have a mistake in a textbook and you've already printed 20,000 of them, right?
Yes.
Now you got a problem, right? But digital content is so much easier to update and redistribute, so
Yeah,
that
it
can
is.
save a ton of time and money in terms of dealing with errors and mistakes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, awesome job.
Yeah, good
Really
job,
great
guys.
presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
so much.